everybody, what's up and welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys are doing okay. So today we're going to talk about something that I've talked about with other people a lot and everything, and we're going to talking about technology and music. Now, in the title of this, it's talking about this band Falling in Reverse. So for those of you that don't know, for those of you who do know, it's kind of a big thing that happened this month. So the band Falling in Reverse canceled one of their shows at a festival because their laptops were lost. They either got misplaced or something. They actually ended up in New York City somehow. I'm not sure what happened there. But the band literally came out and said that they couldn't play the show because they didn't have these laptops. Their lead singer, Ronnie Radke, I'm not sure how to say his name because I don't even really know anything about this band because I don't follow a lot of the new bands out there. But so he came out and posted a video and said that they could not play their show because these laptops are missing and they had to cancel their show. And his exact quote was, as a band in 2022, you need your laptop to play a show. Now, I don't know what the rest of you guys think about this. I'm just going to give my opinion on it. It's just my personal opinion, which doesn't really mean a squat, actually. But this is just how I feel about it. As a guy that's been playing music and playing in and out of bands for a long, long time. I mean, I'm 53 years old, and I've been doing the band thing since I was like 19. So I've had different kinds of things come up and happen throughout those at shows, and we figured it out. So first I want to say that I have no problem with bands using backing tracks for their shows, to enhance their shows, or for intros or fills or whatever they got going on to make those shows better. I mean, it's a great tool when it works. It's a great tool, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. But with that being said, and I use backing tracks as well. When I do my solo stuff, I use backing drum tracks and backing guitar tracks that I recorded myself and created so I can make my sound fuller when I'm playing my solo shows by myself, acoustically or whatever I'm doing. So I have no problem with using backing tracks. But on that same note, I feel that any band and any musician needs to be able to play their music and do their show without that stuff if it fails. Now, being as long as I've played, and I'm not some great guitar player and some great musician by no means, but I've had things fail on stage. I've had things go wrong, and we still figured out how to put on a show. Hell, I even had a guitar player that wasn't going to show up at the gig, so literally at this one time we were actually on tour with another band. Our guitar player didn't show up. We didn't even know if he was going to make it to the gig. So on the way to the gig, riding on the other band's tour bus, we actually spent that time learning how to play our show as a three-piece, which we had never done before. But we were prepared to do that when we got there. So I feel that a band of this caliber, this Falling in Reverse band, of this caliber and at the level that they are, should have been able to figure out a way to play a set of some sorts without their backing tracks. Now, I probably should go look and see what they actually do and stuff, but I don't think it's a smart idea to gear your whole show around a laptop. That's just my personal opinion. I feel that you can have all that enhanced stuff, but if that stuff goes down, you still need to be able to get out there and perform to some extent whatsoever. A great example of that is when MTV used to do MTV Unplugged. They used to have bands come in and play their stuff acoustically and raw, stripped down versions of them, and bands would come in and do it. Bands like Alice in Chains and Kiss and all kinds of different bands would come in and do that stuff. There was tons of them that did it back in the day. And it was super cool to hear their songs stripped down, but they could still pull it off. So I think it's sad that in this day and age, and this is one of the reasons why I don't follow a lot of new bands, because I don't really care for the music. I think they've gotten too technical with their stuff, and it's not that these bands can't play. I'm not saying that these guys are not good musicians and they can't play music at all. I'm not trying to knock them for their musicianship and stuff. I'm just saying that they're so reliant on this technology that now that when something like this happens, they have to cancel a show, and you don't ever want to have to cancel a show. Now, I think it's crazy as a professional band to base your whole show around what's on your laptop. Now, from what I understand, that a couple laptops got taken, so it sounds like their primary one got taken and their backup one got taken. But I saw this on another video. It's Tank. He's a roadie that does a lot of roadie stuff, and his video is actually really good. He talked about it too. And he explains a lot of stuff why bands use backing tracks, and I have no problems with it. But he also said, he goes, but it doesn't make any sense why they don't have something backed up on a hard drive as well, just in case something like this would happen. They could take that hard drive, plug it into another computer. They could go buy another computer, plug it up, boot it all up, and still do their show. They are at that level that they should have been able to make that happen in some capacity. So I don't know why they didn't, or why they chose to just cancel the show. But it's kind of crazy that a band of that caliber in this day and age is like, oh, we don't have our laptops, so we can't have we can't play our gig. You know, I think that's crazy, because I think that you should be able to get up there and play as raw as you have to, and then if you can enhance it, that's great. But you should still be able to get up there and play shows. And back in the day when I was growing up in the '80s, bands got up there, they plugged in, and they played. There was no flashy stuff. There was no any of this stuff. They had to get up there and actually perform. Now, I will say that even older bands now have got into using all this technology, and I think that the problem with the technology is that if you base everything solely on that technology, when it fails, then you can't do anything, and that's not okay. You need to be able to back it up and be able to play, you know. And it's unfortunate because some bands have taken it to the point like this, that if they don't have their little computer, they can't play a gig. And that's crazy that they can't play a show without that laptop. I mean, you want to be able to put on the best show you can for people, but you still need to be able to get out there and perform. And I just think it's crazy that these bands that are up-and-coming bands are so hinged on technology now, and so hinged on everything in a computer, that when something like this happens, they can't go out and perform anymore. And that sucks for you as a fan of that band that says, oh, we canceled the show because we lost our laptop, so we can't play. To me, that's ridiculous. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's crazy. You should still be able to get out there and put on some sort of show. You may not be able to play all of your songs, but you should be able to get out there and play some of your songs, something to some effect, and still get out there and put on a show. But that's my opinion. I'm a very raw player. If you guys have followed my channel, I'm very raw and a rough, you know, basic plug in to my pedal board, plug into the amp, and play kind of guy. I'm not a huge fan of technology. I use it to the extent to what I need to do, but I don't try to go overkill, because the more technology you put into something, the more things can fail when you're out there performing, you know. And some of these shows, yeah, they're spectacular and they're great and there's all this cool stuff, but in the end, do you really need all that to go out there and perform your songs for those people, is what you have to ask yourself, you know. I mean, I do understand the fact that, like, you know, if you went and recorded with an orchestra on these songs, you can't afford to take the whole orchestra out on tour with you. So having that backing track for the orchestra is nice, because that's what you put on your album. But I also am one of those people that have always said that don't record something on your album that you can't do live. And that was something that in every band I've ever played in, we never did anything in the studio that we could not do at a live show. Something that we couldn't pull off on a live show. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bands, even the older bands, that did that they put stuff on their albums that they couldn't do live. They couldn't actually perform it live. And, you know, now we have all this technology where you can do that stuff with computers and stuff. But in a situation like this, you know, if you have hinged your whole show and everything that you've done on that laptop, and then it's gone and you can't play, I mean, that's crazy that you based all your music on your laptop. And the fact that he said that if you're a band touring in 2022, you've got to have your laptop to go perform, I gotta call, that's just bullshit. That is just bullshit. You don't need a laptop in 2022 to go perform and play live shows and stuff. And there's a whole bunch of bands out there that don't use laptops and don't use any of that stuff. They just go in, they plug in and play, and they go at it. You know, you look at a band like Hailstorm, that's just a raw rock band, and other than some cool lights that they got going on stage, because they they've upped their light show and stuff like that. They don't do all that craziness. They don't do all that stuff. They don't have all this technology going on and doing all that stuff, you know. It's the same thing with, you know, bands that are playing with click tracks, you know. I mean, it's okay if you want to do that. I mean, that's fine if you want to listen to a click and it helps everybody be in time better. But one of the great things about music was that flow of how it flows when you're just playing with your guys. You're not listening to anything in your ears. You're just out there playing and you're following the drummer to play your music. I mean, for me, I could never play to a click in my ears. It would drive me nuts. I'm so used to being on stage, using my amp as a monitor, and then having the floor monitors, and then listening to the drummer and the bass player to do what I do on stage that I would drive me nuts to hear that click going click, 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 click. I would go bonkers doing that. You know, and I think it takes away, it makes the performances more robotic, and I don't really care for that. I like that raw flow, and you've got to really feel it and stuff. And music has a flow. It has its ups and downs, and I think that's what makes music great. And when you start taking those flowing elements out of it, it's like a robot playing it. But that's just my opinion, you know. Do I agree with these guys canceling a show because they lost their laptops? Not really. I think that they should be able to perform their songs, or at least some of their songs, without that computer, because computers fail, you know. Do I think it's utterly stupid and ridiculous that they base their whole show around what's on that laptop? Hell yeah, I do. I mean, I think that's the dumbest shit in the world, that you based everything around that laptop, and you're this big performing band that can't go out and do a gig because you don't have your laptop. I mean, I think that's just ridiculous. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm more of an old school guy anyway, but that's just how I see it, you know. Now, I don't agree with, like, I guess Eddie Trunk attacked him about it, and Sebastian Bach got in on it, you know. For Sebastian's part, though, I will say that he wasn't in on it until the lead singer for Falling in Reverse brought his name into it, talking about Eddie Trunk, and then Sebastian jumped on the bandwagon. But I will say this, Eddie Trunk used an example of Aerosmith and used an example of Sebastian as well, I guess. Or Sebastian was using it. I don't remember how that went. But both of those bands have used backing tracks for, like, intros and things like that. So you can't attack people for using backing tracks when you've actually used them yourself in your shows and stuff. And there's a lot of bands that use them for different intros and different sounds and stuff. And like I said, I don't have a problem with people using backing tracks, but you should still be able to go out there and perform your show if those backing tracks fail you. You should still be able to get out there and perform a show. And I'm going to say this one last thing. I remember I was reading Sean Yseult's book from White Zombie, and she was talking about how Rob liked to start using those backing tracks and stuff. And the rest of the band didn't really care for it, but he really got into it. But she was talking about how they had the backing tracks fail and they couldn't use them one night. I can't remember what show it was at, but she said it sounded so amazing without the tracks, just them playing raw on stage without the backing tracks, and she said it sounded phenomenal. And I think that's where music is its purest, is just that raw form. And that's what I like. I like seeing a band, just a raw form of a band out there playing. And that's just me. Everybody has your preferences. But I'd like to hear what you guys' opinions are about this. What is your opinions about this band, Falling in Reverse, canceling a show just because they didn't have their laptops with their backing tracks? Do you feel that that was okay, or do you think that they should be able to be at the level they are, be professional enough that they should still be able to go out and put on a show even though they don't have their backing tracks? I mean, there's two sides to this coin. I'd love to hear what your opinions are. I mean, me personally, like I said, don't have a problem with bands using backing tracks, but I do feel as a professional musician that if those tracks fail, you should still be able to get out there and perform your songs. And I don't think you should hinge your whole show on your computer and the backing tracks and everything that you have in that computer. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. It's disappointing to know that this band did that and canceled that show, because I know there's a lot of people that bought tickets that actually went to see them. So, I mean, things happen in the music industry, and you can't help it, and everybody's got to handle it in certain ways. If it was me and I was in that band, I would have said, we're going to figure out a way to play something and get out there and do some sort of show. We don't need the backing tracks. We can go out there and do it. That would have been me. But that's just me. That's my opinion. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. So you guys leave your comments, questions, whatever down below. I'm also testing out this new Zoom Q8 4K. That's what I'm filming on today. So hopefully these videos are going to get better because I just got this camera. I'm trying to up my game with my videos. So that's all I got for you guys. Leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think about it. What you guys think about technology as well, because I feel that the technology today is actually hindering some of these bands. So that's my point. That's my view. You guys tell me what you guys think. Leave the comments down below. Try not to get too nasty with it, but I'd love to hear what you guys hear and hear your opinions. So we will see you guys on the next one. You guys take care and keep rocking.